So, well, no, not just testing. Time to go back to reading Umineko no Naku Koro ni. Oh my god, wait, did I ever change it to Banquet of the Golden Witch? I did, yeah, I was smart enough to do that. Okay, I still have to deal with the cricket, but it's not as loud today, I think. So, I should be okay. I think I'll be okay. Alright, so let's load the file. Hopefully I should be good today. Who knows? Forget what the adults expected. At least for us kids, these are supposed to be a couple of fun... Oh wait. Forget what the adults expected. At least for us kids, these are supposed to be a fun couple of days where the cousins deepened their friendship. However, when we woke up, there was an unbelievably cruel reality waiting for us. George and Jessica were crying over Shano and Cano's death. Right now, everyone who was alive had gathered in the hobby on the first floor of the guest house. And there were 12 people there. Unbelievable, right? There were 18 until yesterday. And one night, a third of that number had lost their lives. I eventually sobered up from my agitation and along with my lack of sleep from being awoken so early in the morning. I was beginning to feel a faint sense of unreality. I want to think that this is some kind of bad dream. My cheap escapism keeps telling me that over and over. Maria had gone back to sleep on the sofa Rosa was sitting in. Rather than having her nerves of steel, she probably genuinely hadn't had enough sleep. The adults were holding items that was apparently from Grandfather's collection. Short-barrel Winchester rifles. Apparently relics from that time that he'd been obsessed with westerns. There were 4 guns altogether. Those had been split among the 4 siblings, Uncle Kraus, Aunt Ava, my dad, and Aunt Rosa. Paper boxes filled with bullets lay on the table. The siblings were silently loading them. It's a little scary. Even now touching one of these. I get the feeling Dal yelled, "Don't touch that," and hit me. Well, isn't that great? No matter how much you touch them, you won't be hit again. I can't believe it. To think that Father would meet his kind of end. Well, I never did expect Kinzo to die normally in his bed. But even so, it is too horrible. Hey, I wonder if that really was Father. I think it might be a different person's corpse, used as a substitute to trick us. No, it was Father without a doubt. You saw his toes, right? Generally speaking, there aren't many humans with 6 toes on both feet. But that doesn't mean such people don't exist. I've heard that polydactyly isn't a rare disease. He's a man who liked large-scale tricks, right? He might have obtained a corpse from somewhere and have that same number of toes on both feet. Ridiculous! Why would he do something like that? I agree if it was a normal person, but this is Father we're talking about. Can't be sure Kiri's talking nonsense. After all, burning a corpse makes it hard to identify. Still, there should be a way to examine him from his teeth and bone structure. If the police investigated, of course they'd be able to know whose body it was right away. The problem is that we need a telephone engineer more than the police right now. The boats probably won't come in this typhoon. So will they arrive tomorrow? Most likely the boat will come again at 9 tomorrow, and I believe we'll be able to contact the police. It's the same for us and the culprit. Until the typhoon passes, this island will be cut off. Just from our parents' conversation, you can probably figure out the general gist, but let's explain the situation anyway. First, early that morning. In various places throughout the mansion, a total of 6 corpses, including Grandfather and all the servants, had been found one after another. First, Grandfather had been the boiler room completely burnt. The servants had died, each shut up in rooms throughout the mansion, and had magic circles drawn on them. The cause of death for the servants was uncertain, but according to Dr. Nanja's diagnosis, there's a high likelihood they'd been stabbed by something like a spear. Or possibly shot with a gun. That's why adults had started arming themselves with Winchesters. And what this made this situation even more chaotic was the fact that telephones had become unusable. It's unknown if lightning had caused them to break down or if the culprit had broken them. At any rate, since the contact with the outside world has been cut off, we couldn't reach the police. So until the typhoon passes and a boat comes tomorrow morning, we'll have to protect ourselves. After all, Rokunjima is now isolated by the typhoon. Just as we're stuck on the island, so is the culprit. It seems the adults had stayed up all night, holding the family conference in the mansion's dining hall the whole time. And yet the crime had occurred in the mansion. So right when the adults had been in an uproar over money, the murderer had probably been killing under the same roof. They say Aunt Natsume's been strict about locking the doors and windows at night. And yet some suspicious person had entered and left the mansion. The adults had decided that the inside of the mansion was too large to be safe. So they pulled out the guns and moved to the guest house where we had been. Which brings us to the present. George begged to see Shannon's corpse. The adults refused, saying that he mustn't do so until the police arrived. That wasn't just because they wanted to seal all the rooms to preserve the scene. After all, the culprit who had killed 6 people was wandering about the mansion. The Ushiromiya family right now, that mansion should have been their home. It was now a danger zone that unknown murderer could enter and leave at will. After all, it is a huge mansion. There are plenty of blind spots and dark places, and it's too fast to guarantee absolute safety with this number of people. Relatively speaking, the guest house was much smaller. It had 2 above ground stories, something like 10 or so rooms. Apparently, it had originally been constructed to serve as a small hotel. It's part of the plan to turn this island into a resort. It was easier to know what was going on everywhere inside of it, and it'd be easier to keep safe. Made for a good place to pull up in. Also, it was extremely likely this mass murder of 6 people was a game. After all, the culprit had proclaimed so in a letter. I heard a Western-style envelope with a family crest just like the one Maria claimed to have received from Beatrice yesterday. I've been found in the boiler room where grandfather's corpse had been discovered. This is what the letter said. So that there will be no misunderstandings, the game I seek is for everyone to try to solve the riddle of the epitaph. Not for you to try to catch me. If you don't solve the riddle, the pitiful sacrifices will further increase in number. It would be wiser to spend your time solving the epitaph instead of searching for me. If no one can solve the riddle, no one will survive. Hold on, I think I'm supposed to read in Beatrice's voice. My bad. So that there will be no misunderstandings. The game I seek is for everyone to try to solve the riddle of the epitaph, not for you to try and catch me. If you don't solve the riddle, the pitiful sacrifices will further increase in number. It'd be wiser to spend your time solving the epitaph instead of searching for me. If no one can solve the riddle, no one will survive. If a person appears who can miraculously solve it, I will give them all the gold in the Golden Land, Ushinomiya family headship, and all of my power. I was the one who succeeded the Ushinomiya family headship after Kinza. I look forward to seeing who will succeed to that headship after me. The Golden Witch Beatrice. This riddle of the epitaph was that thing. That strange epitaph and the portrait of the witch on display in the hall of the mansion. Grandfather was the one who had it written. The person who had solved it supposedly would be given an inheritance, or hidden gold, or something like that. since it was first put on display there several years ago. The relatives had secretly tried to solve the riddle, despite saying on the surface the whole idea was silly. However, up until today, no one had solved it. But once again, being urged to solve the unintelligible riddle, and this time we were faced with a threat that we'd all be killed if we didn't solve it. If that wasn't a game, what else could it be? The bold opinion that we should search the premises for the culprit did come up once. However, there was a good chance they were armed, and there might not just be one of them. And while they might have been able to kill more than 6 people, they had stopped at 6. The opinion had won out in the end that we should avoid needlessly antagonizing the culprit. Hold up in a safe place while we wait for the police to arrive. Yeah, there's still a cricket, so. But I'm not irritated, I'm okay. Okay. After the adults carefully checked the doors and windows in the guest house were locked, they set up camp in the lobby. As they lowered their guns to distract themselves from the tension, their expressions showed that they were already fatigued from this long day, which had still barely begun. There was nothing for me to do. Now all I could do was be taught how to use a gun. Prepare for the off chance something happening that led to an excuse of guns. That's fine. Just obey and stay here, and me and the rest of you. 6 people in the beginning again, and this time it's grandfather and all the servants put together. Most likely, that child has carefully studied your moves from the last game, and has made an optimal move by taking the pieces you are more likely to suspect from the start. That makes sense. That was true both last time and the time before that. The servants who know everything about the mansion and who walk around with the keys always fall into the most suspicious categories of people. And a good example in the last game would be Jessica's closed room. If only I accepted the servant was the culprit, that wouldn't have been a closed room. Oh, hello! And so, that child went straight for them. Probably to block off a method of escape you'd be likely to attempt sooner or later. Beto already complained and read that there were no more than 18 people on the island. In other words, it's time to give up on that. Now I've got to suspect one of the 18. That's right, it's his turn. That child will probably come at you by stealing the pieces for all the 18, while also making an appearance as a 19th person who shouldn't exist. But then, you would be forced to accept that your opponent is a witch. Oof! Yeah, you don't want to spoil yourself. It's okay. I couldn't stand the crickets that kept going on and off yesterday, and it was just like, it was really bugging me, so I had to stop early anyway. But today the cricket isn't as intense, so I'm a little better today. Okay. After all, now that the intimidation approach has failed, trying to force you to surrender by showing you magic, the only remaining option is a frontal attack. Perfect. Bluffing won't work anymore. Be careful. Deception is what witches are best at. No matter what your opponent says or shows you, it will not be able to threaten the truth that you believe in. Don't forget that. Sure. As if I fall for the same moves over and over. Come on out, Beatrice. Let's get started! I am already seated at the table of the contest, and my turn is already complete. To think that we would end up having Madame as our foe. This will not be easy, milady. Our moves will be read thoroughly. I care not. By now, teacher's moves are all old-fashioned classics. There is nothing to fear. Ah yes, Answer. That's the name of the song, I believe. So, just what moves can you make beyond the classics I taught you? I look forward to seeing, Beatrice. You okay with this, battler? Can someone who denies witches really accept a witch as a strategist? Your stupid propagation is pointless. This is my advisor. No, my second. That That doesn't change one bit. This is a fist fight between you and me.
I understand. One as wobbly as yourself probably needs training wheels on his bicycle. Do as you like. Come, let us begin. It's your turn.
Let's begin with the reconstruction of the crime scene. Virgilia, quickly please. The first corpse discovered was Shannon's. She was found in the parlor of the first floor of the mansion. The door and the windows were locked, and a closed room was established. Beato, I need some details. Let's reconfirm the definition of a closed room.
Indeed. The term closed room refers to a room where the inside and the outside are completely cut off from each other. Naturally, it would be impossible to even affect things across the boundary line, much less enter or escape across it. This includes all-inclusive denial of the existence of hidden doors, as well as all the possibility of intervention from the outside. Henceforth, this shall be referred to as Beatrice's closed room definition.
Let's focus in on it a bit. How do you define all possibilities of intervention from the outside?
I refer to all types of direct intervention from the outside, such as using a fishing line or a long thin rod. In conclusion, there are no gaps in the doors, windows, through which such tricks will work.
I wonder about that. Even if there wasn't a gap, you should be able to interfere with radio waves like remote control, right?
Very well. I will add to this definition that interference due to radio waves and related methods of remote control shall be impossible.
There's also an extension phone in the parlor. A device connected to that would count as remote control, right? Oops, I messed up. But anyway, yes, this song is pretty good. That's true, I like it. Alright. Let me readjust myself. Because my position is terrible for my back. There's also an extension telephone in the parlor. A device connected to that wouldn't count as remote control, right?
The phones are already unusable, are they not? Whatever. I'll include that too. All direct and indirect methods of interfering with the inside of the closed room from the outside of the room are impossible.
What about a voice or a knock? Those should be able to interfere from the outside without someone entering the room, right?
Even though it's a closed room, it probably isn't impossible for someone to knock or call out. The closed room definition does not cover whether transmission of antenna across the boundary is possible or not.
In other words, you can't make it so your definition includes the blockage of all methods of communication with the outside?
That is indeed the case.
Understood. So, Shannon's parlor satisfies Beatrice's closed room definition, right?
Correct.
Closed room definition understood. Continue, Virgilia.
Yes. Shannon's corpse was in possession of one master key. The relatives who discovered her collected this.
Beto, repeat it. How many master keys this time?
The same as last time. There are 5, one for each servant.
Which means this still isn't a closed room. There are still 4 master keys left. It just means that after Shannon was murdered, one of the other 4 keys locked it.
Correct. And it wasn't only a master key that was found. Yes. Alongside the corpse, there was a western envelope with a family crest. Instead of a letter, the key to the guest room on the second floor was inside it.
The key to the second floor guest room. The only key other than the master key that can open the door to the second floor guest room. Is that definition correct?
Yes, that is true. It really is an awesome scene. I really love it. It's fun. Things pick up really well. Indeed, there is no problem. And unlike the master keys, only one of those exists. In other words, apart from the 5 master keys, there will be only one key that can unlock certain rooms.
Other words, this is a message telling them to go on ahead of the second floor guest room next. So the adults move to the second floor guest room, right?
Yes. The door to the second floor guest room was locked, and a magic circle was drawn on it. The relatives unlocked it with a key they had found near Shannon's corpse. Inside, Kumasawa's corpse was discovered. It was a closed room, one that satisfied Beatrice's closed room definition. Kumasawa was in possession of one master key. The relatives collected this. And like in Shannon's case, there's a western envelope discovered alongside her. Inside was a key to the 3rd floor waiting room. The relatives moved to the 3rd floor waiting room.
So there was a magic circle on the door to the 3rd floor waiting room, and that door was locked.
Yes. Inside the room, Goda's corpse was discovered. The room was a closed room, one that satisfied Beatrice's closed room definition.
Goda was in possession of one master key. The relatives collected this. Oops, sorry, that was somebody else. That was Virgilia.
Goda was in possession of one master key. The relatives collected this, and up until now, a Western envelope with a family seal was discovered, inside which the key was the 2nd floor VIP room. The relatives moved to the 2nd floor VIP room.
What's going on here? What are you planning?
There's no need to glare, is there? It may be a closed room, but there are still multiple master keys that can open it correct. And besides the master keys, I've even given you keys specific to each room.
I don't like where this is going, but I'm starting to see how it'll turn out. So it continues like this for all 6 people.
Yes, that is correct. Inside the 2nd floor VIP room, Genji's corpse is discovered. One master key was collected. The keys to the underground boiler room was discovered. They moved to the boiler room underground. Inside the underground boiler room, Kinzo's corpse was discovered. The key to the chapel was discovered. They moved to the chapel. Inside the chapel, Kanon's corpse was discovered. One master key was collected. The key to the 1st floor parlor was discovered. With this, our reconstruction of how all 6 corpses were discovered is complete. An addendum. Alongside the key to the chapel, a letter was enclosed in the Western envelope found near Kinzo's corpse. The contents of the letter were as you saw. It further urged relatives to solve the riddle of the epitaph.
In that case, what's going on? The last place where Kanon was had the key to the very first room, the parlor where Shannon was. That makes 6 closed rooms all tied together, right?
That is correct. Let's see. That is correct. The 6 closed rooms are all tied together. The key to unlock each one of them are all shut up inside the next room.
In other words, the closed room forms one massive closed room, and all the master keys as well as the individual keys are shut up inside it.
Furthermore, all the doors and windows of the 6 rooms are normal. No device exists which can lock them without a key, such as an auto lock. What do you think? It's beautiful, isn't it? Once again, the lady, that is not dignified.
Renove rebuked her. Beatrice stuck out her tongue with him without showing any signs of shame.
Sorry. Playing with Valor just put me in such a good mood. So, Battler, what do you think of my move? If you can't think of anything in particular, I wouldn't mind showing you how I got the goats carrying the corpses and seal all the rooms with magic, okay?
Do what you want. I'll listen respectfully to this magic theory you claim is true. However, I can claim my human theory, even though it's completely different from yours, without any interference from your claim. In other words, there's no need for me to pay attention to your bullshit. Go ahead and show me how you can lock the door with your multicolored magic simply by waving your magic staff. Just like those guys with their total oil and all-purpose kitchen knives. Virgilia, let's reconstruct the crime scene. Search for a weakness. Were they all definitely dead? If one of them is just playing dead, this isn't a closed room at all.
Nanja confirmed that all of them were dead. However, due to the devil's proof, it's impossible to deny the possibility of a wrong diagnosis. In other words, the child cannot make the likelihood that Nanja overlooked them being alive equal to 0.
Here it is, that devil's proof. But there exists a sword that can carve that up.
What's up with them? It looks like they're having a good time leaving me out of the discussion. I'm his opponent, am I not? Doesn't he have any time to spare for me? Fundamentally speaking, communication with one opponent is not necessary to the act of competing in chess. Every time you've communicated with him outside of making your moves, you use the opportunity to confuse him. Perhaps this is the result of him not wanting to be led astray. For some reason, I don't like it. You are challenging him to a chess match, did you know? That's true, but...
Beatrice puffed out her cheeks as to say, I don't know why, but I don't like it.
police have not yet arrived at the crime scene, the human side ability to inspect the scene is limited. For a strict confirmation of death, I recommend that you have a child repeat it in red.
Okay, that's where I'll strike. Repeat it! The 6 victims are all dead!
Milady, he's told you to repeat something in red, has he not?
Hey, enough lazing around! Do you refuse to repeat it? This is where our battle starts!
What? Ah! Ow! Sorry. That's fine. I'll answer. The 6 are all dead. Kinzo, Genji, Shannon, Kanon, Goda, and Kumasawa.
Why are you so out of it? Okay, so I've already got 1 out of you. Well, I'll start by denying that classic trick where the victims are playing dead.
I won't go easy on you anymore. Come at me how you like. I'll slice them slantwise one after another.
Then repeat this! No one is hiding in any of the 6 rooms. Let's see you deny the existence of people we aren't aware of.
I'll answer. There is no one hiding in the 6 rooms.
Okay, now I'm sure it's only the 6 of them that can. And they aren't pretending to be dead.
What will you do? What will you do? As if a human can manage anything by now. Obediently kneel to the fact that I can control locks at will with my wonderful magic, okay?
Quit babbling. Repeat this too. The 6 deaths were instant deaths.
Instant deaths? Huh. What do you mean by that? It means there's a possibility that a single victim on the verge of death managed to escape into the room, and after locking from the inside to create a closed room, they passed away. A classic closed room murder trick. One requiring the victim receive a fatal wound and die later. It is possible for a closed room to be constructed unexpectedly if the victim pulls up inside the room to escape the murderer, and then dies after locking the door. In order to deny that possibility, you will need to proclaim that the 6 died instantly with a red trim. Very well. I'll slay you with my red treasure sword. The 6 died instantly. By died instantly, I mean the targets instantly became incapable of action after being attacked. Well, it might have still taken them several seconds or minutes to die in the complete sense of the word. But regardless, it was completely impossible for them to take any actions of their own will. In that case, I can confirm that they suffered instant deaths.
Up until this point, I've just been checking for the classic tricks. Now, this is when our showdown over the closed room really starts, okay? If the culprit isn't on the inside, they're on the outside. So they somehow killed from outside the rooms.
Have you lost your mind? After all, a closed room equals murder is impossible from the outside, right? That's why only a magical murder would be possible.
No, that's wrong. The right approach is a murder really happened equals it is in a closed room. No matter how much you try to trick me, this definitely isn't a closed room. It's a sham that only looks like one.
However, back to it. Only the victims are inside the rooms, and no other people exist inside the rooms. And by Milady's closed room definition, remote murders from the outside the room have been clearly denied, have they not?
Wait, the definition of a remote murder is pretty broad, right? It's not just about pulling a fishing line from outside the room, and strangling the victim inside the room. For example, a trap would make for an excellent remote murder.
A trap? And what might that be?
Just as an example, let's say that they were instructed to enter the rooms that someone had picked up beforehand and lock the doors from the inside to create the locked rooms themselves. And a trap was set up in those rooms that they didn't know about. That's what killed them. How's that? That doesn't contradict anything.
There are no problems. It corresponds to existing state. There are no problems on our side either. It does not conflict with the lady's closed room definition. What's with that stupid reasoning? Nothing suspicious was found in any of the rooms, right? What form did that trap have? Where was it hidden, and how did it operate? Explain that for all 6 of them in the parlor, the guest room, the main room, the VIP room, the boiler room, and the chapel. Well, you can't, can you?
I refuse to counter that! There's no need for me to explain, and failing to do so doesn't damage my claim.
What did you say?
Beatrice, it's a devil's proof. The fact that he cannot explain the nature of the trap does not itself deny the existence of such a trap. Well done. I'll overbear a wonderful move.
This guy is getting completely used to this.
Check! Due to the murder trap X that we couldn't find, it'd be possible to establish this closed room murder.
I'll kill that chick with the red truth. The 6 were not killed by traps.
And the definition of a trap?
That's it. Something that activates when a victim triggers it on their own. Oh, that's not all. It also includes things activated by a remote control or by a timer. Everything of that sort.
So it refers to all arrangements that could carry out a move without the direct participation of the one who planned it out. Perhaps we might sum it up that way.
How's that? I've struck back. As if I'd let a human crush this closed room.
You're looking pretty frantic to win that too.
What? What do you mean?
You're frantically fighting to make me accept your existence. Until now, I thought I was being toyed around with you by one-sidedly. But that's not actually true. You're also frantically resisting my counters, fighting to show that you exist. Now, I finally feel that it's true. This isn't torture inflicted on me over whether I'll surrender or not. This is a fight between you and me on evil footing! Oops, I think I messed up and said evil. I'm so sorry. Let's try that again. This is a fight between you and me on even footing. Okay, now it's starting to get interesting, isn't it? All 6 died in the closed rooms, and no outsiders were inside. There's no meddling from the outside, and also no traps. Up until now, I'd probably start suspecting this had to be the work of magic. And if you decide to show off some bizarre magic at this moment, I might have even surrendered. It's that favorite strategy of yours. You intercept all my moves, and the moment I've exhausted all options, fall into my knees. When my heart's barriers are at its weakest, you show off some strange magic and take all the game all at once.
That short temper is something that childs always had, along with the bad habit of rushing people when victory is in sight. After all, Milady cannot stand hurting off a match.
Hey! Shut up! Shut up! It's Balor's turn, right? I finished up that trapeze you advanced. What should I repeat next? Show me what you've got.
Right! Now that even traps have been defeated, this looks like a perfect closed room murder at a glance. That's why I'll spin the chessboard around right now.
Here it comes. That special technique of yours. How exactly are you going to spin that around? Try showing me!
Yeah, I'll show you. I don't even think about how 6 people could be killed inside this closed room from the outside. It's useless, it's useless, it's all useless! That's right, the question isn't how you can kill from outside the room. The point is how they died inside the rooms, making them closed rooms! That's it! This is the answer! You assume that one of the 6 people were the culprit. This closed room can be explained extremely easily.
What? Ridiculous! I believe clearly I said and read that all 6 of them were dead.
Oh, there were 6 deaths. 5 were victims who got killed. But if you assume the other person committed the death... I'm sorry, let me try that again. Oh, there were 6 deaths. 5 were the victims who got killed. But if you assume that the other person ended their own life, you can destroy this closed room.
Certainly. If the culprit locked themselves in the foul closed room and threw away their own life, this closed room chain would be established. The ending their life of the only culprit normally would be an unthinkable move, but the argument that unthinkable cannot exist can be used, and he has no responsibility to demonstrate such a motive. A truly powerful move, which should only be used in a chess match against a witch.
Well, one cannot be certain there was no motive. For example, it had been announced that Kinzo only had a short time left to live. Perhaps he did not regret losing his short remaining life and used his own death to send a message. It might be possible to attach such emotion. Milady, it is our turn.
Indeed! I think you trample even the dignity of death to create a culprit. What a heartless, cold-blooded man.
I'll set up the dead as the culprit. This is worse than inhuman move as the one you used to attack Kano in the last game. Even though the games are different, I'm taking a shot back at you with this move, as a tribute to Kano for that last time. Just now, I freed Kano from his regrets. Ah!
You have no responsibility to hold back here. You should try not to confirm that.
Wait, oops, my bad. Hold on. Okay.
You have no responsibility to hold back here. You should try to confirm that one of them did not end any of their lives as the cause of one of their deaths. I recommend that you have that child repeated in red.
Right. But ending their life is a naive word that won't corner her. Beto, this'll stop you. Repeat it. The 6 deaths were all homicides.
That is painful.
What's wrong? All 6 of them were killed, right? I'm just confirming that simple premise we had from the very beginning, right? Can't you repeat it?
I refuse to repeat it. There's no reason in particular.
You realize that refusing to repeat this part is the same as resigning, right? Checkmate! One of the 6 was a culprit, and they planned to end their lives after constructing the closed room. That's all!
Wait! No, I'll say it! I'll use the red like you want. None of the 6 ended their lives. How's that? Are you satisfied? I struck back!
What the hell? So you can say it. Well, that's strange. Why are you so panicky?
It's your imagination. This time, even I'm feeling the pressure. That's right. I don't have any leeway. Pay it no mind.
The line you asked that child to repeat has been altered. Do not be fooled.
It seems not to have worked, milady.
Well, that's right! She didn't say the 6 deaths were all homicides. She changed it to none of the 6 ended their lives. Which means one of them wasn't killed by someone else and didn't end their lives. Ah! I got it! This is the truth. Culprit X, who was hiding among the 6, murdered the other 5 and set up a closed room. After that, they planned to escape from or hide that room by some method. However, they got in an accident. The culprit died from an accident that they hadn't expected and set it up a closed room murder that they hadn't desired. Now it's over, Beatrice! Checkmate!
Damn it! Did you think I'd be cornered by something like that? I never announced my resignation over something like that! I'll slice up that foolish checkmate with my red treasured sword over and over again! None of the 6 died in an accidental...
My apologies. We request some time to strategize. Please allow us a brief postponement of this matter. It is a fair request. Perhaps we should accept it.
Sure, take a break. I've given those a lot lately. Now it's your turn to take one.
Thank you very much. Come with me. This way. And let's quietly count to 100 inside of our head.
Ronove quickly covered Banto's mouth with his hand, and she grew thoroughly panicked and agitated, suspending the game. He pulled Banto away, supposedly to hold a strategy conference. Yeah, it does give that Yu-Gi-Oh vibe, huh? Yeah, Yeah, Balor gives me the Joey Wheeler vibes too. Damn. That demon butler. Beato got all hot. I had a perfect chance to corner her. Beato normally acted like she was graceful and above it all, but she really had a short temper and got mad easily. Her usual Inta had less of a voice when she got excited.
Ronave certainly is thinking clearly. He probably gave your opponent some time to cool down. That child grew too stubborn trying to remove your check, and was about to easily let several of her large pieces go. After all, the first twilight is only a skirmish. The correct move at that time would have been to withdraw.
So what does it mean? Did I reach checkmate or didn't I?
That child was about to say something in red. You probably wouldn't have reached checkmate yet, but most likely, you can expect our opponent to resign once they cool their heads.
You're joking! Even though she hates losing that much?
Yes. In a losing battle, it is essential to withdraw your troops as soon as possible to try and minimize your losses. The difficult part is gauging whether it is a losing battle or not. Your opponent's butler seems to have calmly made that decision.
Oh well. In other words, she managed to escape by a hair's breadth. Getting checkmate delivering the final blow won't be that easy for me.
However, you should count this as your victory. It seems they barely managed to prevent a large loss, but they certainly sustained considerable damage. The scale of that child's panic ought to make that depth of that wound quite clear to you.
Seriously. It feels like she'd start crying if I bullied her anymore. Oh yes, it does feel like that. It also feels like a proper thing where two people can just argue and they're not trying to override one another and they can just say their pieces usually. As we talked, Renove returned with Beato, who wore a meek expression. She didn't yet have her usual bold smile, but it looked like the blood wasn't rushing to her head anymore. Hey, it's your turn. Did you sign your next move?
I resign. For now, I will let you have your victory.
Beato told me that frankly. It seems she'd taken a far-sighted view, as though saying, if you want to laugh, then laugh. It was a bit of a killjoy, and I lost my desire to deliver the final blow. Well, now that you resigned, that just means we're even, since my theory and yours can't deny each other. You should treat it more like a tie than a loss.
I don't need your disgusting sympathy. I'm telling you that I lost this round. When you find a dog drenched in rain, do you have a sudden urge to whack him with a stick or something?
Nope, I'm not you. Even though she ridiculed me horribly when I showed signs of defeat, this is the best she got when the tables are turned. I didn't feel it was pretty cowardly of her, but I decided to act with dignity as a victor and let it slide. That's true. And they work really well. I mean, when I was younger, I didn't really understand chemistry. And I didn't... So when people are, like, talking about Beato and Balor having, like, chemistry, I was like, huh? I mean, I was, like, 15, so... When I first saw Umineko, after I watched Higurashi.
Beato resigned.
That's the one result of the first Twilight. Beatrice couldn't counter my move if one of the six was the culprit, and that person died in an accident. Now, she probably could have countered it, but for some strategic reasons, she still admitted defeat. It felt less like I'd won, and more like I let her slip away at the last second. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people ship Goku and Vegeta together, too. Personally, though, I don't like Vegeta. I like Goku way more. In the chess match with a witch, battles can be fought solely with pieces known as X, which require no detailed explanations. Blech. Thanks to the Devil's Proof, I could create as many strange fictions as I want and use them as fighters in our argument. But that only works in a chess match with a witch. In our human world, you can't use such abstract theories to explain things. Oof! Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the spy has like some kind of vendetta against Valor. They're like, I solely want to kill him. I remember playing Spy. Oh my god, every time I play Spy, I'm like laughing all the freaking time. I'd be a terrible spy. But, no, I mean, luckily nobody can hear me when I'm playing as Spy in TF2. I mean, I haven't played it in a long time though. This first Twilight was a chain of 6 closed rooms. It certainly may have been possible for a human, but Beta wasn't able to deny all possibilities. However, I don't have a clue who committed the crime, or why, or how they actually did it. It may seem strange to hear me saying this after I won. But for some reason, I felt like I had been more satisfied if Beatrice had been able to say definitely that it was impossible for humans. I managed to avoid specifics using an abstract piece called X, but I couldn't deny the sense that some eerie intent must never be known was filling up this entire mansion. Oh, I thought Goku and Vegeta are at least best friends, or at least like he trusts him enough. But I don't ship them because I don't know. Because when I was 5, I shipped myself with Goku. Oh yeah, that's true. I myself, I don't like Vegeta. He's too grumpy. I mean, he gets a little better in Super. I like him more there, but I did not like him in Z. Even when he was kind of getting better. Yeah.